In our lives, we seem to encounter all sorts of events, many of which scar and cripple us. Some of them physically, some of them mentally, and some of them both. It is common to try to understand why evil things happen to us. It is normal to try to find explanations for the problem of evil, but the problem of evil can hardly be separated by the problem of goodness, because without goodness in the world, we would never consider evil. Observe yourself, friend, and take note of the number of times you have asked the question, why is there evil in the world? And then ask yourself, why haven't you wondered, why is there good in the world? Why do you automatically assume that the world is by nature good and that somehow it has been infected by evil? If you look closer at things, it will be easier to explain evil and decay. A simple example would be to notice how easy it is to observe that children lie and steal and cheat. What seems remarkable is the fact that sometimes they grow up to become truly honest adults. If you will seriously give this idea a thought, it probably makes more sense to assume that we live in a naturally evil world that has somehow been spoiled by goodness, rather than the other way around. Entertaining such an idea will raise some questions, but at least it will give you a real starting point from which you can afford to become curious about the nature of evil. On your quest to understand evil, always remember, friend, that it is necessary to make a distinction between evil and an ordinary misdeed. It is not their misdeeds that characterize evil people, but the subtlety, persistence, and consistency of their misdeeds mixed together with the refusal to acknowledge them. Evil people may be rich or poor, educated or uneducated, and more often than not they will be solid citizens. Teachers, policemen, bankers, who commit crimes against life that are so subtle that they cannot clearly be labeled evil or criminals. Keep in mind, friend, that there is a big difference between being evil and doing evil things. We all engage in misdeeds every day, since misdeeds are nothing more than failing to act perfectly. You will always fail to do the very best of which you are capable, and you will fail yourself, your wife, your neighbors, and maybe even the law. Depending on your circumstances, you can find excuses for your small lies and betrayals, but do not fall into the trap of believing that you have never done anything wrong, because in such a case you would be lying to yourself, which is a self-betrayal, and in all honesty a misdeed itself. This is an inescapable loop in which we all fall. But remember that evil people are not defined by the magnitude or illegality of their deeds, but by their consistency. While their actions are usually subtle, their destructiveness is remarkably consistent. This is because such people absolutely refuse to tolerate the sense of their own wickedness, and it is your sense of wrongdoing that prevents you from undergoing a similar deterioration. Pay attention, friend, to how the people around you act towards their own misconduct, because all misdeeds are repairable except the one of believing that one is without fault. Observe the people that use blame and scapegoating to escape the judgment for their betrayals, because in their hearts they consider themselves above reproach, making them want to abuse anyone who does judge them, sacrificing others to preserve their self-image of perfection. Think of the time you pointed out someone's misdeed only to be blamed for it yourself. Even though your actions did not lead to that misdeed, in this situation an evil person who feels to be faultless will always perceive you as bad, projecting his own filth onto you and then assault you in the name of a good cause, because it is easier to attack others instead of facing his own failures. Keep in mind, friend, that evil people are often destructive because they are trying to destroy evil. Because they are refusing to acknowledge the evil within themselves, they leave no option open except to attempt to eradicate the evidence of their own imperfection. Since everyday life threatens their self-image of perfection, evil people are often engaged in destroying that life and completely restructuring the world in the name of righteousness. Become the man that learns to see beyond appearances and notice the subtlety of the evil people in your environment. Pay attention to the ones extremely dedicated to preserving their self-image of superiority, who are engaged in the effort to maintain the appearance of moral purity. Notice the behavior of the ones who are acutely sensitive to social norms and what others might think of them, and remember that image and appearance are crucial ideas to understanding the morality of evil. The darkness of their evil comes from the desire to appear good, Even though they lack any motivation to actually be good, they are driven by lies and deceit, and their goodness is on a level of pretense. The lack of tolerance for the pain of self-reproach will lead many down a path of self-deceit, on which lies attempt to cover up something that is known to be wrongful, because there is no need to hide and cover something up unless there is first a feeling that something needs to be hidden. Remember, friend, that the essential component of evil is not the absence of a sense of wrongdoing or imperfection, but the unwillingness to tolerate that sense. The evil people are aware of their own evil and are desperately trying to avoid that awareness by continually sweeping the evidence of their wrongdoings under the rug of their own consciousness. On your quest of becoming a mature man, learn to understand evil. Pay attention also to your own behavior and never forget that you can become evil only by attempting to hide from yourself. The wickedness of evil is always committed indirectly as a part of a cover-up process, because it never originates in the absence of guilt, but in the effort to escape it. Open your eyes and become the kind of man that notices the smile that hides the hatred, the smooth manners that mask the fury, and the gloves that cover up the fists. Embrace truth and honesty with yourself and with others, and do not be fooled by the many disguises that cover the maliciousness of evil, and pay attention to the brief glimpses of the game of hide and seek that many are playing with themselves in order to maintain an image of high respectability. I dare you, friend, to become the strong man that can tolerate the pain of his own conscience, the pain of the realization of his own imperfection, and embrace the truthful process of self-examination that has the power to penetrate your own deception. When you will wonder in the future about the reasons for all the evil in the world, will you be the man standing in front of a mirror, pointing also a finger at himself, or will you choose to hide your imperfections in the projections you put on others? Your hostility against evil should be a battle against yourself.